I want to take this moment to talk about a different style of laying out a page than what you're used to. Up to this point, you've been giving pixel width and floating left and floating right to get things in place. But the new, more modern way that allows for web pages to adjust to different devices and things like that uses a different method altogether. So what I wanted to show you here was, if we go to getting started with Bootstrap, they have a good explanation here. Whoops, no, it's not on Getting. Here it is. We're looking at the grid, and the way a page is laid out is that it is actually 12 columns wide. So, for instance, you can have 12 columns, or you can have something that is 8 columns. This would be 2/3 on the left and 1/3 on the right. Here's 3 columns that are even, or you can have 6 and 6, but everything can be broken down in those, or you can break down the 12 columns any way you want. And then actually inside of each of these objects is another 12 columns. And so that's how you actually place things. And then depending on the size of the the size of the device, this is for medium devices. And then there's also small, column extra small for really small phones, column small for tablets. Most desktops use a column medium, and then this would be for things that are really high definition. And then this is controlled, what type you're looking at is controlled by media queries, and you're going to learn a lot more about media queries in Web 2. But I just want to let you know that in general, Bootstrap is already responsive, which means it responds to the size of the website that you're looking at and shifts over. So if you are using already one of the templates kind of as your shell, and then using the Bootstrap commands, your website will work on a cell phone. Now, you'll probably want to tweak that and change it and things like that, but let's take a look at how this works in the code. So on this page here, I went ahead, this is a page I was working on. I added a little bit more to it so we could see. You can see here we have this row, and it has 2 equally spaced columns. So if this is a 12 column layout, which they all are, you know that this is 6 columns wide and this is 6 columns wide. Down here we have a 3-item layout, or a 3-item row. They're evenly spaced out, so you know that this is 4, this is 4, this is 4. And you can tell here, because Bootstrap comes already kind of pre-prepared, your padding and margins are already taken care of for you. Let's take a look at what this looks like in the code. Okay, looking at now, let's take a look up here where we had the 2 things. We have 1 row, and you can see that Dreamweaver nicely pops up the row for you, the row container. So I'm going to go down and look at that code. Okay, you can see right here we have class row marketing, it's called, or you can just say row, and then I have column large, so they're using large, expecting large for large monitors, but I have div large 6, which means, remember that this was split half and half, so there's one here, here's 6, here's another 6. And then I'm going to end the row. Well, one of these ends the row down here. Okay, then here I have another one. I guess this one probably ends my row. Okay, then I have another one right here So I have another class row, and I have 3 of these items. Since there are 3, they're evenly spaced off. 12 divided by 3 means that they each are going to be equal to 4. So here, see column medium 4, column medium 4. And then I should have one more right here. Column medium 4, 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. Now, well, let's see. Let's make these rather than evenly spaced out. Let's make this one really skinny and this one wider. We can make, actually, let's make the first one, let's make it 2 by 2 by 8. So this is really wide and these two are really narrow, and we can see what happens. We find the first one here. So I'm going to say 2 by 8. So that's 10 columns wide. And this one down here. Oops, I must have missed it. Hold on. I'm highlighting here so it moves my code. Oops, I missed the top one. Okay, so I want this one to be 2 by, I said the middle one we wanted to be 8 wide, so it's 2 plus 10 is, or 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so we have all of our 12 columns. Refresh. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this in Firefox. Save it. And there you go. You have very narrow, very wide, very narrow. And that's now how we place things on the page. And this already, since it's a template from Bootstrap, Bootstrap is natively responsive. Let's take a look at what happens to this. If I squish it down, that's not really a very fun thing, but you see how these actually started just stacking one on top of the other. So it knows to do that automatically. If you use a nav bar, these things shut off actually, and it goes into a pull down menu. So Bootstrap is responsive automatically. I'd like to see you for the rest of the class try to employ that 12 column model, because that is actually the way web is currently being done for responsive websites. As a programmer, as a website designer, if you are called to retrofit a website, you do need to understand the whole placement system that you were using with the floats and rights and lefts, and you may still come across that. But in designing complete whole pages from this point forth, you really should be using the 12 column method.